Hey everyone, this is Davidson. Happy to be here. I just wanted to share with you guys two things. Yesterday, I went to a conference with Jack Canfield, who is the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul. For those of you who don't know Chicken Soup for the Soul, it's sold over 500 million copies, the series, and it was pretty interesting meeting. It's interesting when you meet authors, and would like to share with you guys some of my takeaways from it. So yeah, I appreciate you, Edwin, for inviting me and Megan. It was also nice to meet you, Nick. You're an awesome guy. You have amazing energy, and yeah, I'm excited to see what you guys, all three of you guys, continue to accomplish throughout your career and life. But yeah, so this was the event yesterday. I'm going to share with you guys some of the takeaways from some of the exercises that we did. Overall, I thought the conference was it was interesting. It was a much older crowd, obviously because Jack Canfield is 75 years old, so he's been around for a while. So much different than when I went to the Summit of Greatness, which was a much younger cohort. I think the average age was probably around my age. I'm 32. Whereas in this event, the average age, I would say it's like probably like in the 50s, no, 40, late 40s, like early 50s. But it was cool because we're all looking for the same thing, right? To improve, to get better. It seemed like a lot of the people that were, or the common theme that Jack's message was like, it's never too late. There were people that there were guest speakers and volunteers that talked about releasing a book, and so the common theme is people were more self-expressive in terms of like releasing a book because that's what his expertise is, right? Like how to release a book, and he talked a lot about how he was rejected 130 over 130 times. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. All right. So, so some of the exercises that so one of the most important things is to take 100% responsibility. What that looks like for me is not being able, like not blaming anyone, circumstances, like not blaming like previous managers, not blaming my my coworkers or anyone else. It's 100% up to me. Even if something happened, he used some pretty extreme cases, but anything that would be considered like being a victim, he said that get that out of your mentality. So that I like that because it made me think about like how like sometimes like I'm still a victim, like talking about my past and stuff like that, which happened such a long time ago. But sometimes we don't want to let go, and I'm definitely guilty of it as well as like not being able to let go and just move on. You know, just I wrote down get complete in the moment, so that would be a pretty powerful exercise for me. Um, yeah, he said that. So I'll just read it off to you guys. He said that we have to, well, first take 100% responsibility for our life and our results. Don't blame it on the market. Don't blame it on the company. Don't blame it on your partners. Because he says that people tend to attract a certain, this is a pretty bad example. I mean, this is a pretty extreme example, but he said like even like battered women, like a lot of there's certain women that just come back to abusive relationships because they think they don't think they deserve better. So he gave us a lot of examples of the millions of people he's coached and how he was able to transform their lives by getting rid of that. Um, he talked about the power of visualization is huge. That's something that I definitely want to incorporate into my life. And he talks a lot about every athlete, and I listen to a lot of professional athletes, NFL players, Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, Kobe, and what they all have in common is that they all have a visualization practice. So he made so we closed our eyes, and then we thought about, for instance, like for me, like during a sales call, I could I could simply just like think of a positive outcome. So plan like in my head, like how's it gonna go? From building rapport to talking about their companies, all the research I've done to show that I care about them and adding value. So um, yeah, I think visualization is really important. I read a book that was recommended from someone I met, this guy named Michael in Ivy, where he said that um, it's called the new cycle cybernetics, and it's basically like laws of attraction. So when you think of like something that excites you, like here's a good example. Um, when I think of like the summit of greatness and the excitement of them drumming for a minute and 41 seconds, like it gets me into a positive state. So if I'm feeling down, I could just close my eyes and sort of like a meditation where I can think of going back to that moment, and then my blood gets flowing, and then I get excited, and then like there's my my energy changes, which is pretty interesting. Oh, I really enjoyed this about what he did as well. So in the beginning of every break, or in the beginning, he would show us like funny slides of cartoons, like just really funny slides, and then it got everyone laughing, got everyone engaged. So he's really good at being able to change um, our mood, like our, because early in the morning, people are traveling from everywhere, people are commuting, and to make everyone laugh is huge. So that's something that would be good, that I could definitely incorporate um, into maybe my sales presentation. Just have like some funny things to talk about. Okay, so he talks about, and the visualization. He had people that he's coached that became billionaires that came from nothing, and this guy wrote a book about how he interviewed like 20 different billionaires, and all of them have a visualization practice. So good to know. Good to know. Um, so yeah, he talks a lot about there's something called the rule of five. So anytime you have a really big goal, it's much easier to break it down into five actionable items. Like let's say one of my goals is to run the Spartan Ultra Beast, which is this 15-hour race where you go through almost running a marathon but up a mountain, and then you have like 55 obstacles as well. So climbing walls, ropes, kind of like the Ninja Warrior stuff. So if I want to do that, I would have to break it down to five goals. So one would be, okay, first run a marathon, and then one would be schedule hiking, 12 hiking in the next month. I mean, in the next 6 months. So every 2 weeks. So break it down and then plan it. Put in my calendar which days I want to go. The next thing I would do is, for instance, if I need to work on like rock climbing, so I would have to break it down into how many times I want to go, which months, the dates, how many hours I want to commit to. So it just makes life easier, because a lot of times we have all these big goals, but if I don't break it down into actionable items, then how am I going to reach it? Um, Oh, okay. And this was a pretty interesting exercise as well. It's called the breakthrough affirmation. So he says the wording that you use is, I'm so happy and grateful that I now. So it's talking things into existence from the future. Like let's just say, I'm so happy and grateful now that I make $250,000. I've made President's Club, and I just came back from Bali. So by speaking that, you're manifesting it, and it's much more real instead of like it being in your head. So not only do you have to speak it, but you have to write it down. So he showed us stats and case studies about how people have written it down compared to people that have just spoken it, and how much more powerful that is. And then more importantly, if you tell a friend, if I'm posting to you guys on social media, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook, on my blog, the chances of me making President's Club is much higher, because people will hold me accountable to what I say, and it just becomes more real. So that's a really interesting exercise. And he said the most powerful thing is to have a mastermind group. So not only tell one friend, but to be surrounded but with everyone else that's doing the exact same thing. Like if I have a mastermind group, similar, so I'm going to the summit, I'm going to the Sales Success Summit in Austin, Texas, to meet with other top sales professionals. And that's sort of like a mastermind group where everyone else I'm surrounding myself is also really into sales. People that have studied sales podcasts, listen to the top performers. Oh, sorry about that. The light went out. So having a mastermind group would be the best way to reach my goals, which makes sense because if everyone else is doing it, it makes it possible for you, and we can all support each other. And he says success leaves clues. So if other people have made, $500,000, or some of the sales mentors I know have made close to $1 million a year, then of course if I surround myself with that, it'll be much easier for me to reach that. Okay, so something else one of the tools he had us practice is just asking for what we want. A lot of times, I'm in sales, so for me, it's become much easier as I continue to do it every day for a living. But that's still something that I could get better at doing. So he said, just practice asking. He's a perfect example. His own story, Jack Canfield, was that he was rejected by 130 publishers, and now he's sold 500 million books, right? So the 131st person publisher finally accepted him. So it's just an example of um, when someone says no, you just say next. So those are the main tools. Oh, okay. And this one I would say I'm pretty good at. Like this is the one thing that I feel like it's called constant and never ending improvement. You're always looking to improve. You're always looking to get better. You're always looking to level up. That's why I work at LinkedIn Learning, being able to help companies level up in terms of technology, creative skills, business leadership skills, things like that. All right, guys. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed my takeaways from Jack Canfield's One Day to Greatness. Doing these things will help me become a better at social media as I re-listen to them and work on some of the things I could do to get better. But hey, we're all looking to get better, right? So I appreciate you guys listening, and yeah, would love to see what you guys have learned from the Chicken Soup of the Soul. I would say some of the big major takeaways for me from reading those books when I was younger was just the human aspects of things, of how humans, I'm not gonna lie, like I'm a crier, so it was interesting to meet someone who, yeah, it's funny when people are talking on stage, he was so present that he didn't react, like he didn't overreact, and because a lot of times we give into people's emotions, like if they're like, "Oh, my life is so sad, I've done this," but it's interesting to see he's listened to so many stories and he's heard so much that no one, there's no excuse that he can hear that will disempower people. Because a lot of times people will hear things like, "Hey, I just went through a divorce or I just had bankruptcy," and we're like, "Ooh, yeah, I don't know, like that's a touchy subject." But Jack is so powerful and so grounded that that doesn't deter him from being able to see a possibility in getting over such a horrible breakup or getting over divorce. So pretty interesting stuff. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Take care.